Welcome to Late Night Tea with S and Z. Before we get started, I always like to ask Zakaya, is there anything that you would like to share with the audience before we get into it today?
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything too crazy or serious going on in Zakaya's life right now. It's March, so that means that it's time to start planning for my birthday. But also, technically, as we're recording this, because it's after midnight, I should say, happy anniversary.
Oh,
wait, no, I'm early.
That's Sunday.
It's Sunday. Well, as of recording this, tomorrow is the parents' anniversary.
That's Sunday.
As of this being posted, it'll be a couple of days off. But tell them happy anniversary in the comments, I guess.
Well, thank you. Let's get into it. Today, one of our topics is going to be childhood. I guess the best way to phrase it is being a child back in the day versus being a child now.
I'd even argue back in the day, in the middle, and now. Because I feel like growing up in the 90s, growing up in the 2000/2010s, and then now is three very different experiences.
That is definitely true. What made me think of this as a topic is, your dad listens to, or I can say watches, all of these podcasts on YouTube. He watches everybody. There was this one that he watches that I was able to listen to one day. I think we were like driving or something. And I want to get his name right.
We giving free promo?
It's either Zip with the Drip or Zip the Drip. And he be making some good points that I can say. A lot of the stuff I don't pay attention to, but when he speaks about like the street stuff and growing up stuff, he makes some good points. And one of them the other day was, children don't be outside playing anymore. And I thought about that too. And I was like, I know I had a conversation, I think, with you about it or someone a while ago in reference to it. And I was like, that is so true. And he was like, people used to be outside playing like steal a bacon or manhunt, things like that. And it made me think, looking back from, let's just say like people who are my age or around in my age group, leading up to you, because you are on the cusp. You were still going outside to play, but the electronics were just actually being introduced, right? So you still had basically the best of both worlds. So what I'm about to say pertains to you as well, but how many people from, I'm gonna say you're 23, I wanna say probably like, I don't know what age, I'm trying to figure out a age after you that don't have knee scrapes from being outside, that don't have that don't come in the house like, oh my, like falling and playing outside and then coming upstairs, cleaning off or washing off your wound, putting a Band-Aid on it, maybe, go back outside and finish playing. Like, there's no children really out here that's like that anymore. Everybody is stuck on social media, video games. It's like, I don't know. I feel like these children aren't children anymore. Like, they don't understand how it is to really be a child, to be outside and playing and get to experience so many different things during that time when you're like outside. Like, you come home from school, you do your homework, if they do their homework, put that book bag down and you going outside. I know we used to be on Eastern Parkway playing like crazy. You fall in, like I said, you go upstairs, rinse it off. Hell, some of the time they don't even rinse it off. They be like, oh, you fall in the dirt, you dust it off, get up and keep playing. Now you don't see none of that in the street. People come home from work, everybody like, hey, how you doing? Oh, tell your mother I said hi. Nowadays, you don't even know who people's kids are because you don't even get to see them. Why? Because they're stuck in the house either on the phone or playing a video game. And it just really, like, it makes you think, like, wow, times have really, really changed. What do you think from your point of view?
I mean, there's definitely a shift, especially because I was that age group where it's like we kind of had both for the entirety of our lives. Like we had the childhood of like the combination of going outside but still having a lot of access to technology. But I do think a lot of it just comes down to the fact that like we've gotten to a point where a lot of parents, or like the age where people are now, the group of parents that like that age group is more okay with just being like, give them the tablet and it's fine. Like there's a lot of like just iPad kids running around. So it's like when they have access to the tablet 24/7, they have no reason to want to go and find other things to do, which I think we're going to see. I think we saw a big shift from that, like going into that within the last like 10, 15 years. I think that we're going to see it go in the opposite direction in the next like 10 to 15 years.
You think so?
Because I think that there's the group before me, like the age group before me, I feel like didn't have the internet growing up, got it like during that like pivotal age shift and then kind of relies on it very heavily. My age group, I feel like had it from the start. And I think because of that, there's a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us have like some degree of anti-technology sentiments. Like me personally, if I do choose to have a child in the future, I don't think that like my kid's gonna have unlimited screen time. Like that's just not a thing that's gonna happen.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's good, because I feel like I grew up with technology being so available that I was more able to see like the negatives. And I think that's something that I've like seen and talked about with peers, where I do think that there's gonna be a shift within like the age when we become like the predominant parent group. But then I think it may shift again with the group under us. So I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth with that from like this point on.
I think it's more so, here you go. I'll let this raise you. I'll let this iPad raise you. Because kids don't even really sit in front of the TV and watch TV anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like cartoons. I mean, when you were growing up, you watched the Backyardigans and Dora and not Barney.
I watched Barney to some degree.
You didn't really watch Barney too much.
I didn't watch
You
him a ton.
were a Backyardigan
No, definitely
kind of girl. But
I was more into the animated shows.
Yes, SpongeBob and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, it would be like, all right, you watch TV, but then you get up and you're going to do something. You're not just sitting there. And I think a lot of these young kids, and I want to say my nephew, around my nephew's age, because he's 16, he's about to be 16, it's like that for them. It's like they just rather sit in the house and be on the laptop or your phone or whatever type of tablet or something that you have. And I think a lot of it comes from the parents just being like, you know what, here, just take it, stay out my way. You know, instead of, all right, going outside and then you got to be out there like, where he at or where she at, you know, or making sure that everything is, you know, okay. You just give them the tablet. And I call that letting the tablet and stuff like raise your kid.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I don't know. I just was thinking about it once I heard him say it, because I'm like, it really does make sense. Like, God bless her soul. My homegirl Precious used to be outside with the dudes playing Skelly. We had y'all already, you know? So it's like just certain things that you would be used to as a kid that you would be like, oh my goodness. Like when you get older, you like, nah, let me just try this. Let me see if it still works, or let me see if I still got it.
I haven't
seen
like
jumping double dutch
in forever.
He used to be in the middle of the street. Like,
I remember coming home or coming outside and having, especially if there was a block party or something, they would have it just drawing right between the two buildings.
She ain't played no games with it. I used to get the quarter waters and get the tops from the quarter waters and put the wax in it. Yep. Like, she ain't played no games when it came to that. And then like I said, the kids would play manhunt, tag, just doing stuff, like just being outside. And you would be, well, from the hood, because we from the hood. So it wasn't get back in the house before the street light come on. Like, we wasn't doing that.
No.
You know, it was like, oh, if you going in the house, then once everybody start dispersing, then be going in the house. You know, so it was like more of the just being outside and running around and, you know, like, but you don't see that anymore. Like, you know how many knee scrapes I got, or you riding a bike, a regular pedal bike, while you ride, using the pedal or whatever, like your foot slip off and then you get that scrape on the back of your ankle. Like, oh my gosh, like the kids don't know nothing about that.
For us, like my group, that real like ankle destroyer was the Razor scooter. You jump off the Razor scooter a little too fast, the whole thing just swing, bam, right side ankle. And those scooters were straight metal.
Yes.
So that little plate would just swing, boom, right? That was the real ankle destroyer for us.
Like, it's like that, some of the joy of being outside, because you know half of the stuff that you're doing, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Like half the stuff that you're doing. I'm definitely not condoning, but I will say, like we used to do, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want no kids to do it. But like we used to do the wildest things, like play in the elevators and like, it's just crazy. Yeah, you knock on people's door and run, you know, that kind of stuff. But I don't know, it's just not the same. So when you do see, for me, when I do see kids outside and they're actually playing and it seems like they're genuinely happy, like it just warms my heart a little bit because it's like, geesh, like, you know, you really don't get to see it. And like I said, I'm from the hood. So I remember one day I was driving somewhere and it was the summertime. As I'm driving down the street, I seen the kids playing in the fire hydrant. And I just was like, wow, like this brought back so many memories because no one does that anymore. Yeah. You know, everybody's like, oh, not touching that water. Can't do that water. We grew up, we used to drink from the damn fire
that's
hydrant.
A little crazy.
Like that's what we
played in the fire hydrants for sure. We 100% did. Drinking?
We used to drink from the fire hydrants, okay?
I barely want to drink from a park fountain.
That's like
fire hydrant.
Like the tap water. I'm not telling you to go ahead and go drink tap water. I'm not saying that. I buy bottled water. You know that.
But we do, if you live in New York City, you can. We have one of the best filtration
That's
systems
what
in the
I
world.
was trying to get to. You know, like your father. I cook with tap water.
Because he's nice.
Okay? In the Keurig, I fill it up with tap water. My tea kettle, tap water.
If I make instant ramen, I'll put tap water.
For some reason, he was thinking that we were using bottled water for this stuff. So when he saw me use tap water, he was like, woman, are you crazy? No, are you crazy?
He is.
You think I'm going to use my bottled water for this? But I'm going to boil it. It's going to reach the temperature anyway. Like, no. Like, I don't get it. You know, I just really, really miss seeing the children actually play outside. It's just a joy. Because kids don't want to be kids anymore. Everybody want to be grown until they get here. And then, I got to hear from people like you or Amber talk about adulthood is the ghettoest hood of all.
Ghetto is hood.
Right.
But also, I feel like when I was growing up, there were a lot of things for that kind of in-between space. There were tween things. There were tween shows. There were tween music. There was tween outfits and clothing brands and stuff. Like, I can't think of the name of it now. But like the little brand with like the monkey.
Paul Frank.
Yes, like the Paul Frank brand was very much so a tween brand. Like it wasn't for like the little kids, but it wasn't like for the high schoolers. Like it was really like that in between. There were shows like 16 that were kind of like, and Total Drama Island that weren't kids shows, but they weren't like, they were still cartoons. Like there were a lot of things for like tweens that kind of help to guide, where it's like you don't have to try to jump straight into adulthood when you no longer fit into that like kid phase. And now there's none. There's no like mindless behavior for the tween girls to listen to now.
Oh, let's not even get on boy bands.
There's none. There's no Paul Frank everybody's either in regular kid outfits or Body by Raven sets. Like there's no like in between for like the tweens. So it's like, yes, they don't want to be kids, but also it's like it's really hard because when you hit that in between space, there's nothing now.
I get where you're coming from. I do. But I also think that as a parent, it's your responsibility to make sure that you find that in between.
But then it's also like you don't want to have the kid who gets picked on because they don't fit in.
I don't know about that. I mean, as long as they, all right, so hear me out. All right, so first of all, what would make a kid get picked on? Are you talking about attire?
In general, just.
So let's say this. So you have either the kids who, you know, just regular kids, like you said, and then you have the teenagers and then you have the adults. The teenagers, sometimes I can't even tell if they're teenagers. Let's just be realistic, like you said, because you said there's no in between. So when I see a teenager, I expect to see, if you're a girl, I don't care about your name brands, right? Like, because that seems to be the thing now, though. So you're saying being picked on, but that seems to be the thing. If you're not out here rocking a Mary or Christian Dior, like, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be her friend. Now, if I put my kid in that type of attire, but I say, you can't have no weave that's all the way down here because you're, let's just say 15, right? You ain't gonna have no weave down here. You ain't gonna have those long nails, but you still got the clothes. You still well put together. What would be a reason to get picked on?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm not saying everything because I do feel like there's a line for certain things, but I also think there's like a level of just like not even fitting in with the crowd, but just keeping up with the times. And I think that like, I don't know. I think there's levels to it because I do feel like that lack of an in-between is the biggest issue because it's like teens have the same interest and clothing style and etc. as the adults because there's nothing else for them to be interested in.
I'm not going to say that there's a ton of things, but as a parent, I think that it's up to you to try to figure out exactly what it is that you can do with your kid so that your kid doesn't get sidetracked, because you shouldn't go from being a child just straight to an adult. And a lot of the times now it seems like that's what it is. But you said there's no in between. So it's like once you hit 13 years old, you got weaves down to your calves. You got these nails that's like this long. You got eyelashes that's like from here to over there. Like you walking around looking like this. Like you look like you just about to fly away. And then you got all of this makeup, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, like when are we going to allow them to be kids? Like at 13 years old, I wasn't walking around here thinking I'm grown, smoking, vaping. Like, it's just crazy. Like no one wants to be that in between. You're saying that there's nothing there, and I get what you're saying. But as a parent, I think that it's on us to be like, you know what? You don't want to do this because it's too childish. You don't want to do this because it's too advanced. Let me find some type of middle ground. It's hard. That's like when you were growing up, you went through a chunky stage, right? And I remember Miss Abigail saying to me, she's like, how do you find her these outfits and put them together? She was like, because she does not look like she's trying to be grown. She was like, she always just looks so cute. She doesn't look like a little kid because you weren't anymore. Like, you know, you were the end of elementary. Was it like the end of elementary going into middle school? But like you were in the end of elementary going into middle school. And that was my biggest thing too. Like, all right, you know, you were a little on the chunky side. So I had to make sure that I brought things, or I found things that I can still, you know, to put you in, but not make you look so grown that you're getting the wrong attention. That's basically, you know, what it is. So it was my responsibility to do so. It's not me, oh, you know what, Zakiya a little chunky and I know this skirt, she liked this skirt. but I'm just gonna get it in this kid size and it's gonna be extra tight and short and her booty just gonna hang out just because. Like, no, like that's not how. It's my job to make sure that, you know, I find that in between for you. So I don't know. I just think for me, like, these kids need to learn how to be kids. They need to be outside playing. We used to say ripping and running, you know, like just go out and enjoy yourself. Like there's so much more out there to do than just to be sitting in the house on a video game.
That's true.
On social media, you know. It's a lot of, oh, I don't want my kid playing with this kid. I don't want my kid playing with this kid. That kid is bad. You come upstairs, you better not come upstairs crying, talk about, oh, this boy beat me up. Excuse me? What? Either you will go back outside and fight, you will go outside and y'all gonna make it work. Like at the end of the day, that's, you know, it is what it is. But it's just, now it's like, it's none of that. It's like I said, kid to being grown. No in between, because now the kids, show me a kid that can fight. I don't know no young kids out here that can fight.
How many young kids do you know?
A lot. But they can pick up a gun, right? Like it's just crazy. It's like these kids just don't be out here being kids anymore. I feel sorry for y'all kids when they get older, because I think if it's like this now,
this episode might be the oldest you've ever sound.
It's because I miss seeing what how I was brought up. I guess that has a lot to do with the time I don't know. Thanks for shutting me down and trying to make me feel old.
I didn't say you were. I said it's the oldest you've ever sound.
Why? Because I just want to see kids in their natural habitat, like outside. They were born to be outside and playing. Like that's what you're here for. All right? That's what you're here for. Something that kids don't do. We used to go to the store and get like a whole bunch of bags of potato chips and stuff like that. And then we would go find somewhere to sit, get the what you call that? The brown paper bag, and you will open it, right? Like tear it up, open it and make it big. And then you would get all your potato chips, like you and your friends, and y'all would like mix them all up and have them there and sit there and eat that like with your juice and stuff and make it thick. Like, oh, you used to be like, oh, we having a party or something like that. Like kids don't do stuff like that no more.
Yeah, a kid like me, I'd be like, I'm not putting my on the table. No.
Not on the table. We used to be inside the building. We used to be inside the building, sitting on the stairs and
when
stuff
I say
like
the table, I'm thinking of like, you know, the Lincoln Terrace, like towards the top,
outside,
how they have like the benches. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'm talking about on Eastern Parkway, okay? You know where I grew up,
yes.
Eastern Parkway, and the buildings. So not Grandma building, but across the street, and on Kellenham old building. Me, Franco, all of us. Like, please, like it was just, you just don't see kids be kids anymore. That's what I'm saying. Like, show me a kid that got a scrape on the knee.
I also feel like part of our like views on this are very shifted based on the fact that we live in New York City, because there's so much going on that I feel like it kind of adds to that, versus like if we lived in a suburb or like in the South, I feel like it wouldn't be as prominent.
I really do think it's the parents. I think the parents need to be like, take your ass outside.
No, I'm not saying it's not the case. I'm just saying I think it's more severe of an issue because we live in the city. Because it's like you're more likely to be a helicopter parent if you're watching the news and everything on the news is person got shot, person got pushed in the train tracks, person got attacked, person got slashed. Versus if you're in the South, where of course things still happen, but it's not like as constant as it is here.
But I wasn't even, what you're saying makes a point, a really good point, but I wasn't even thinking about them being helicopter parents. I'm just thinking.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, I feel like that still adds to it.
I mean, of course it does. If I had a young child right now, I don't know what I'll do. You know, like going to school and stuff by yourself, but I mean, hey, you can walk outside and get hit by a car and not make it.
Literally, very true.
You know.
But I also like, you know, if we lived in like a suburb and like a little cul-de-sac, I feel like it's more likely that like everybody on the block who has a kid might have the kid at the end of the cul-de-sac because it's a little bit more like, oh, we can watch them, they can be outside.
Well, too bad I don't know any kids that live in a cul-de-sac. So I'm just saying. But I'm just, you know, I don't know. Like, that's my take on it from right now. I just would like to see kids outside being kids. Like, the weather's changing. I think we're going to have a hell of a summer.
I'm sure.
So I'm just, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm getting a little nostalgic, you know, because it's around this time.
Mm-hmm.
April, you know, is coming. So it has me thinking about a lot of different things, but like, you know, you just miss the good old days. Like, we don't have the good old days. Like, I know for a fact, I could sit back and be like, Dad, I miss the days where we used to go outside and run here. Or,
you miss having rock fights?
I knew you was going to bring that up. I knew it. But, yes, if that's the case. Anybody who watches this that used to live on Eastern Parkway between Schenectady and Troy, put in the comments section if you remember when Eastern Parkway used to have like all the piles of rocks in the service lane back in the day.
And if you do remember that, because you're around Mother's age, were you throwing them at people? Were y'all having rock fights?
That was us. Okay, that's what we chose to do. Okay,
I need to know if the rest of your generation was out here having rock fights.
I'm sure that they were, you know, I'm sure. Anyway, I was saying, but you know, it's just, I don't know. I just would like to see kids be kids outside playing, jumping double dutch. Like, you don't see that stuff no more. Can you jump double dutch?
Honestly, at this point, I don't know. It's been 200 years.
You know what? We're going to do it tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yes. We're going to go outside and we're going to jump double dutch. Mm-hmm. Have to find somebody to turn. And I'm going to show you a thing or two.
We also need like two internet cords or something.
Internet cords? They were called ropes, girl.
That's not rope. That's an Ethernet cable.
We used to get, no, it's not Ethernet. And we used to get them from the telephone trucks. They used to come over and we'd be like, can I get the rope? Can I get the rope? So, but I can't jump. You know, these bad knees. I can't. Trying to jump anything. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm walking and the damn knees buckling. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's because of the time of the year it is for me. So I'm just starting to think about a lot of like, you know, the old days and stuff like that. Because I can sit back and be like, oh, I miss the old days. I know for a fact when I get 70 or 80 years old, I can look back and be like, damn, those were the days. What y'all gonna do? Those were the days, man. I was sitting there on that iPad, like, remember we had to stare down on the iPad to see how long you could. That's not the good old days. Like, that's not. Remember, she was going crazy on Instagram. Like, remember that time? Yo, man, that was. No, that's just. Y'all not gonna have anything good to talk about back in the day.
I think we'll have something.
Besides these concerts, y'all gonna be like, oh, Cardi B, she was banging back then. That's really it. Like. Anyway, I don't have anything else.
I don't think I do either. So I guess with that being said, this has been Late Night Tea with S and Z.
Hey guys, it's editor Zakaya here, sick, in the living room, chilling, about to export the episode. But I realized that we didn't tell you guys to send in profiles. So if you have a dating profile, whether it's active or not, send us screenshots or screen recordings of it. You can send it to the email latenightts@gmail.com. We're doing reviews, ratings, and judgings of you guys' profiles, whether it's Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, whatever you got. We'll be not using names and hiding pictures, but we may comment on the pictures. But we're really just trying to rank and judge prompts. So send it to us, let us know. Thanks.